Welcome. This is Kim Addis from Resilience Radio, where my guests are experts at crushing the tough stuff. Today, I have an extra special episode. It's not an ordinary episode because we're videotaping it, and we have two very special people from my own neighborhood, Rena and Marnie Schwartz. Rena's the one on the right. Well, when you're looking at the screen, she's on your right. And Marnie is the one on your left.
Hi.
Now, these two are twin sisters, obviously, who run one of the hottest, most popular, successful dance studios in all of Toronto, Vibe Dance and Fitness Studio. Rena and Marnie, say hello.
Hi.
So I'm super excited to be interviewing you because I have a million questions. And the first question I want to start with is, how old are you? You guys look about 25?
We could start dancing and then we'll really feel like we're
Really
8
young?
or 12. But we actually just turned 40.
Wow, happy birthday. So how long have you been in business?
This is our 16th dance season, so 16 years.
16 years. And so you started when you were 24?
We started when we were 25, so that was like really when we started. We're turning 41 this year, but we're still 40 right now. So we started when we were 25, and we had just graduated university. We did kinesiology and education. And yes, we did it together. So we were both kinesiologists and both certified teachers, and we were supply teaching at the time. And we were building our business, building our dream. We said to ourselves, if we don't try now, we'll never know. And, when we were younger, people always ask you, what do you want to be when you're older? You do career courses in high school. And we always kind of said that we wanted to do something together.
Right, like we wish we could work together for the rest of our lives.
We knew that.
Why? Like, how many siblings want to spend every waking moment together?
I know, you know what, I think that we really just value our relationship, and we're so close that we knew that we were hoping we would both get married and kind of start families. And so we thought, how can we make it so we can see each other every day, even though we'll have our own separate lives.
And our mom is actually in education. She's a guru in education. She's written 6 books, and she was a principal, and she climbed the ranks, and then she was a professor at U of T in education. So she really helped guide us in the education world. And when we became teachers, we also were teaching dance. And she used to say to us all the time, you don't have to teach in the classroom. You can become teachers in a different setting. So we really believe that that sparked really what came to be for us.
Yeah.
So were you always dancers? Like in high school, did you dance?
Yeah, always dancing. Yeah,
always.
That was our thing. Like we didn't really do a lot of sports. We just really danced. I think that's why we kind of have a unique approach at Vibe and a unique philosophy where kids can come 1 hour a week, and it doesn't have to be like, their whole life.
It doesn't have to be so intense. Like they
Right.
could be amazing dancers, confident in what they do, and feel good about themselves, because that's really what dance does. And come once a week, but be treated like they're number one. So be treated like they come 1,000,000 hours a week, except only that 1 hour. And that's really what makes them feel unique and special and valued and important and included, which is what we're all about at Vibe.
Yeah.
So I think that's really what reminded us, because all we really do is dance. Nobody really knows that, to be honest. Like, yes, we can catch a ball and we can swim, sort of, but really what we love to do is dance, and dance is so important. But our philosophy of Vibe is we want kids to be well-rounded, where they ski, skate, swim, and dance, and do well in school, and have a great social setting, and the list goes on and on.
Okay, so wait, I want to go back, okay, because I want to get into Vibe, but before we do all Vibe, which we'll do a lot of Vibe, I want to get into Marnie and Rena and the relationship you have together. So you're teenagers. I don't know, usually teenagers, especially sisters, have a competitive edge. You did not have that. So, how did that happen? Is it that just a function of being a twin? I know other twins who don't love each other as much as you do, but what happened? Did your parents influence your relationship? How is it that you became so stuck together?
Yeah, I think it really stems from our parents, 100%.
I don't think they ever really compared us to each other. They really made us support each other, if anything. We had very different, we weren't in the same classes in school growing up. We were separate. We had separate friends, but we always came together. We also we did share a room. We always see twins out, and when they sometimes grow up separately in separate rooms, maybe who knows, maybe that's a factor, when you grow up in the same room. So that might be part of it. Who knows? But I think that we grew up in a very loving, supportive family where we didn't have everything, but we had everything.
Yeah, and we never ever competed against each other to be who's the better one. It was always let's be great together.
And maybe that is part of why we have our Vibe philosophy, because Vibe really is us, right? We like to say it's the child we had together, and because it's we nurture it and we are so passionate about it. We want to make sure it keeps growing and getting better as if we would any of our children. That's in obviously a different way, but I think that's probably part of it. I don't know. No one's ever really asked us that question.
But yeah, I think it stems from our upbringing.
So you each have kids. You have what?
A daughter.
2 kids?
We each have a daughter, we each have a son.
You each have a daughter and you each have a son, and they're born almost at the same time, right?
Yeah. Our daughters are 10 days apart, and our sons are 12 days apart. And they're all born within 18 days in March.
Yeah.
Okay. And do they talk to each other? Are they friends together?
Yeah, they're like siblings.
They're like siblings, like
sisters and brothers.
It's unbelievable. You know, we like to think that, you know, we see life through a different lens, so to say. And I think that whenever you have a situation that happens to you in life, and I know you have had many situations, that like it makes you better, but it can also make life harder, right?
Yeah.
We like
I saw a post once and it said, let life make you better, not bitter. Like whatever happens to you in life.
So we have like a lot of challenges with our parents for their health over the years, and we like to think that our kids are the sunshine after the storm. Because I'm sure you can imagine, Kim, we meet people and they're like, wait a minute,
You have
you're
this like
twins,
business, and then
you have kids together, like it just doesn't all add up. And the truth is, yeah, we do, but we don't have everything. Everybody has something. So in 2005, Marnie got married. That year, our mom actually got her doctorate of education. And our dad proclaimed to everyone at the wedding, he was so proud of our mom because at first he married a teacher, then he was going out with the principal, and now he's married to a doctor, and he pronounced it to everyone. He was so proud of our mom. And then a few months later, I actually got engaged. And then the year that I was getting married, our dad was sick. He was diagnosed with bladder cancer. We don't really talk about this that often. No, our voices might crack a few times. So the whole year I was getting married, I just prayed.
And we are so close with our parents because I think when you build a business when you're young, you really can't talk to your friends about it because they don't really get it. And it's not their fault. It's just like, when we were 25, we took really big risks that people in their 40s or 50s would take that we did when we were 25. And
so our friends
hard.
who were like graduating from law school and all these different, climbing the corporate ladder, we were sort of doing like the complete opposite.
So there is a lot of risk. You know, we locked the door every night. It was like, wow, you know, we make this place happen. So
Right.
it's not just like
So-
we're an employee there.
So hold on. You got married, and then that year,
Our dad was sick.
Rena got engaged,
Right.
and your dad was sick.
Right. So we went to like every treatment with him, and we're very optimistic people, so we're very positive all the time. You know, most women, I think, like, think about their wedding dress and think about walking down the aisle, and I just thought about my dad being at our wedding. I didn't
Right.
care about my dress. I didn't care about the flowers. It was like we really had a reality check about what's important in life.
Yeah.
So our dad was amazing, gave me everything he gave Barney, walked me down the aisle. It was unbelievable. He was on a clinical trial drug at the time.
And we went through a lot of hardship that year. He had surgery, and we were in the hospital a lot, and he had a lot of infections, and there was a lot of like going back to the hospital.
And we always promised ourselves that when we walked into Vibe, we would leave our problems at the door and walk in and feel the vibe. And
So how do you do that? How do you leave your problems at the door? How do you just like put them kind of in a parking lot?
That is a good. We're going to use that.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that Vibe is such a positive place, and you're surrounded by so much life and so many incredible different types of people. So we have kids who have Down syndrome, kids who have special needs, kids who are in wheelchairs. We have boys and girls of all different shapes and sizes. So you're surrounded by really what life is about, and we are responsible for building them all up. That like I feel like we never let that responsibility. We never
let our personal life kind of like impede on what we do at Vibe. And I personally think that our whole world was kind of like crumbling outside of Vibe. That it was the only thing that we had to hold on to was Vibe. That when we came into Vibe, we were really controlled with our emotions. And we just said, you're not allowed to cry at Vibe. That's like our whole.
I think it's like
rule.
actors and actresses when they have to like forget.
You're not allowed to cry at Vibe. I have to say that I've seen your shows twice a year because one of our kids was extremely involved with Vibe. And every show, like who cries at a dance show, every show there was at least one performance where I cried. So sorry. You cry at Vibe.
Yeah, I guess like happy tears, but like for sad tears or like, you know, you can't change your sadness and perk yourself up. And it was one of those things we tell our staff too, like if you can't bring a smile to your face,
and don't come in.
Don't come in. Right? Because we're here, our responsibility is to build people up and really lift people up. We talk to people all the time about how we wind up when most people wind down, right? Like we wind up at night, that's when we're like on. Whereas most people, that's when they really rest.
And what creates that sustained every single day energy that you have?
I don't know.
I
do think our experiences like bring us to like make every day count and make everything matter and live in the moment.
One of the things we didn't tell you is after we lost our after
I got
wedding,
married,
we lost our dad 19 days later, and then a month later we were going through a lot of sadness, obviously, and
not in vibe, of course,
not like. And our mom was unfortunately experiencing a lot of back pain, and then she went for tests, and she was actually diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 4 a month to the day that we lost our dad. So it was a very scary time.
So we were like hitting ourselves in the face, like, aren't we good people? Like,
how is this happening to us?
So it was really hard, obviously. Obviously, it's hard because our mom didn't have our dad had our mom, and our dad and our mom are very different people.
Yeah.
Our dad was like sunshine and lollipops and never wanted anyone to feel bad for him. And our mom was the ideal patient.
And our mom was at a different hospital, and she had obviously something different. And unfortunately, she really felt the side effects of the treatments. And, it was a very, I would say, 2 challenging years. Personally and professionally, we just were like head nose into vibe and keep it.
And thankfully, our mom, like, we were smarter with our mom, so we asked a lot more questions. The truth is, our dad wasn't the healthiest guy. He was a smoker for over 20 years, and he was overweight. And
we kind of could rationalize some of the reasons, but anyways, all in all, at the end of the day, we felt very thankful because and our mom is doing like incredible. 11 years later, she's in remission, and she's a grandmother, and we're so proud of her that she just keeps pushing forward, and she's so amazing. But in saying that, it was a very challenging part of our life. And I think that when good things happen, we like really embrace them.
Okay, so Brian, who can we say?
Yeah, of course.
So Brian is your son, right?
Yep.
And
Brian was a dancer and an assistant at Vibe. Now one day we were on Facebook and we saw like a charity event raising money and
that Brian was doing for his brother who was sick.
Let's fill people in. So Brian is my youngest stepson, and Michael, his brother, had Ewing sarcoma, which is a form of cancer. And in his case, that cancer grew on the top of his head as a bump, and it turned out it was not benign. So we went through a year, maybe not unlike yourself exactly, where Michael was at Sick Kids Hospital getting treatment for his cancer. So we were going through that, and during that time, Brian was he threw himself into Vibe. And for him, I would say that was a huge focus that was positive, allowed him to expend his energy, and really, actually, for a brief period of time, probably several times a week, left his problems in the parking lot.
Yeah. 100%. So when we asked him, how come you haven't told us? He looked at us and he said, you told us not to bring our problems into Vibe. And then said, like, I don't want the problems to follow me in here either. So, and it was a really touching moment for us, realizing that like Vibe isn't just a safe place for us.
It's a safe place for our staff, and the parents, for the kids. Whoever walks through can actually feel like, in our very first year, there's this little kid who drew a globe, like with the water and the green and a circle, and she wrote Vibe in the middle. And I'll never forget.
We were like, wow,
thanks. We like put it up on a wall, and afterwards I said, what is it? She goes, it's the Vibe world. There's no place like it.
There you go.
And only years later did we realize what that really meant.
But it's huge. I mean, I've walked through your studios, and there's a buzz, there's a feeling, there's an emotion, there's an energy like that exists. I've never seen it anywhere else. But I want to ask you a question. We have a lot of people who listen to this podcast who are business owners, and you've grown a sizable business out of nothing, really, as youngsters, 25 years old. That's pretty young to start a business. How did you start bringing customers in? How did you do the marketing? How did people find out about you? Like, take us back to that time where you had maybe 0 classes, and all of a sudden you started filling to the point where how many classes do you run a week now?
Over 200.
Wow, 200 classes a week. How did you go from 0 to 200? Like, just give us that synopsis.
No one's ever asked us that question.
So, you know what? I think that we are working for a lot of other dance studios, and we were dancing professionally for the Raptors.
And we were working at for a DJ company at bar mitzvahs.
And we were supply teaching because we were teachers. We were supply teaching during the day. And we were all over the place. And we were realizing, like, we need to,
And I think we also started to realize that our philosophy of what dance and dance classes are about were different than where we were working. Right. So we started to feel like where we're working isn't really what we're about.
Right.
And we came from a competitive background, which is totally what was the norm. There was never any recreational studios growing up. So it was like the norm. And we learned to love to dance, and we would never take that away. Competition is different today, and life is different today. And we think our philosophy is more unique, and it's more like we kind of paved our own lane in a way.
Yeah.
But going back to that time, it's kind of crazy because we had someone help us with our business plan, and they really like made us think the way you're like making us think right now. And we set our mission statement, and it's so crazy that 16 years later we still stand by our mission statement. So I
What's
don't
the
know
mission? Say the mission.
Vibe Dance Fitness Studio is a high-quality recreational dance studio for children and teens. With a performance-based approach and a non-competitive philosophy, Vibe strives to create a challenging, fun, high-energy, safe, warm, and we've added inclusive
environment
for all. So
it's a long one.
it's a long
Amazing.
one.
But you know, from the first year, we thought about like what kind of name we wanted to make our business. We wanted to make it like a one easy, not Marnie and Rena's Dance Studio or Marnie and Rena's Dance Academy, but we wanted to make it like a one name where kids would feel cool saying it. And it's so crazy because like 16 years later, you hear like even celebrities saying like, "I like your vibe," or like "Good vibes only" and everywhere, right? Like it's crazy.
It's actually crazy.
It's actually crazy.
But on top of that, we also
Like
realized,
our whole vision this year is last year it was "It's my vibe." Like what vibe means to you. Like everyone has their own feeling. And this year we're doing vibe with us and vibe with me. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
back,
you guys also have the song, the vibe song.
Yeah,
How does the
yeah,
vibe
no.
song go?
I know.
you've got that vibe. It's actually R. Kelly. It's not us. It's an R. Kelly song, but yeah, it works. But back to your question. So I think that really and truly, when we opened Vibe, people knew us from different parts of the community, or heard about like what our new philosophy was about because it was so different.
And I
than
think
every
people
other.
could just then locate us. Like they could say like, wow, Marnie and Rena are doing that. And
Or if we want a strictly recreational program for our kids to learn to love to dance, maybe we should try that, where they're only going to be compared to themselves. They're not going to be compared to anybody else.
and as we've evolved, we've really changed. Like we're really into like conservative dress code. We don't show a lot of body at Vibe. We're all about like everyone feeling good about themselves, not feeling exposed, but feeling like the dancing speaks for itself.
So in November 2001, we actually incorporated, and then we actually started enrollment. We like found a facility. We renovated with our parents. Like our dad and our mom were like
brick and mortar.
brick and mortar. Like they had.
I'll never forget the ceiling tiles were like
yellow
or
or something.
something.
And then our dad was like painting upside down. I'll never forget.
Our whole family was there. Our cousins were there. Like everyone was helping.
It was unbelievable. And then we opened in June 2002, thinking like, okay, and we made like an advertisement that said like Marnie and Rena are opening Vibe. Not like former Raptor dancers Marnie and Rena or Bar Mitzvah dancers Marnie and Rena or anything else. It was just like Marnie and Rena are opening Vibe. And so,
And it included our credentials of like being certified teachers and certified kinesiologists.
and we had 3 studios to start actually. And we always said to ourselves, okay, I had this person that was helping us. I was actually in a relationship with at the time, and he needed to do a project for school at HBA Western. So we were like the fictitious business, but the real business. And every year, actually, we thank him for all of his help because he kept asking us, what's going to make you different? What's going to make you different?
It's actually so cool. He went to the airport a little while ago and he wrote Rena an email saying the cat, like the limo driver, whatever it is, gave him a Vibe pen to sign with. Like to write a paper.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I know that I helped them create this
It was
business.
very funny. So we knew he gave us like sort of like a to be conservative approach. So he said, okay, if you're going to offer 20 classes a week and there's 10 kids in a class, you're going to hope to have 200 enrolled your first year. And we were like, okay, that sounds realistic. You know, we have 3 rooms, but we're hoping for more than 20 classes a week. But whatever, we'll deal. We knew what we needed to get to. And it was on the first day of enrollment, we had 250 kids enrolled.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like, oh my God, this might work. This actually might. So that
We did
summer,
have people that came up to us and said, I'm going to watch you your first year and see how it goes, and then we'll come to you next year.
like we obviously were young and maybe
You know,
they
we-
didn't believe in us, which is fine, I think, at the end of the day. But in saying that, the funniest part is like we're now 16 years in. So some of our teenagers that started are like 30, having
Like
babies,
last night
getting
we-
married now. It's
Or
crazy.
last night we had a grandmother here, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, you look so familiar. And she said, my daughter danced Vibe, now my granddaughter's coming. Like it's so
it's
crazy.
surreal. But
Anyway,
that
we do
summer,
want to tell you about one little, because your whole thing is about resilience. That summer, we were like so excited. We're 25. We're gonna like live our dream. We're gonna have a business. We're gonna put our heart and soul into it. And we were on the dance floor. We'll never forget this.
Ever.
We were walking with our boyfriends.
Marnie married that boyfriend. I did not.
But
but we were with our boyfriends at the time. So we're 25, we're on the Danforth, and this woman who's a dance teacher.
Hold on. You're on the Danforth or the dance floor?
No, the Danforth, like the street with Greek food.
So the Danforth is Greek town in Toronto, for those of you who are listening. Go on.
So we were walking in this area having dinner. We were just walking after dinner, and we saw this woman who's a ballet teacher who taught at various different studios. So she's very well known. So we looked at her. We were so excited to see her, and she looked at us and she said, everyone is talking about you.
It's crazy that you started this dance studio. We're like, yeah, but like we're so excited and it's new and it's very different than what's out there. And she literally said to us, do you want to know what everyone's saying about you?
And we were so excited,
right? Because we were like, we're good people. We come from a supportive family. We're thinking she's going to say something positive, and she shocks us.
She looked us in the face and she said,
everyone is waiting to watch you fail.
Wow. So what did you say? How did you respond?
I actually don't remember anything else.
I think we
were just like, really? We were just like, really? Oh, well, and she said, you'll be doing different events or different things.
And we're moving into the competitive world in no time. And we were like, I don't know. We're really feeling strong about our message. Anyways, in saying that, the craziest part about it is she is now a grandparent at Vibe. Her grandchildren dance at Vibe. And
I think it made us realize that not everyone is always in your corner.
Not everyone is really rooting for you. That you really have to stay committed to what you want to do in order to make things happen.
And I think actions speak louder than words, right?
So how do you, when you get naysayers, how do you plant yourself in your own beliefs? How do you do that?
I think we really just remind ourselves why we started, and we realize that one person having that opinion means actually nothing. You need to really remind yourself about what you believe in and how you believed in yourself to make it happen, and you can't let one negative, one bad apple ruin the bunch.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think that we just really put it as motivation to ourselves of we're going to put that at the back of our mind and try to make sure that doesn't happen and prove it wrong. And now we have this whole mantra of businesses don't plan to fail, they fail to plan.
So we are all about being cyclical and thinking okay, we did it this last year. How can we do it better next year? Because in our business, it's very cyclical. We do costumes.
It's the school year, right?
It's like the school year, right?
You need to prepare for the report card.
And we want to make it better and more exciting and more innovative and more efficient and more enjoyable from start to finish.
So if you were to look back, what's the single greatest improvement you've made over the years? The one that made the most difference, the game-changing change.
Yeah, I think adding technology. We started online registration. And that was incredible.
Huge,
we were doing it 10 years before anybody did it because we didn't have to be open to say, yeah, come and register. And then we'd chuckle. It was so cute when we'd see some of our dance, other people in the dance industry writing emails on Facebook about come and enroll 5 to 7 p.m. And we'd be they should really just get online registration.
They're limiting themselves by so much they don't realize it, right?
So I think technology, and now also we do all of our attendance on the iPads, all of our music is on the iPads. We
do videos,
all of our choreographies on videos.
Even to be honest with you, our staff meetings, we used to have amazing staff meetings with a group of people, all of our staff together, and it's really hard to get everyone together. That we had, let's say we had 50 dance teachers, 60 dance teachers, over 15 of them could not come to the meeting. And we said to ourselves, that is so, I'm going to pick up the phone 7 times. She's going to pick up the phone 7 times and repeat ourselves. That is not.
We're going to miss some important information. And
I'm going to get one thing.
Okay, she's already just going to go get something from 7 at the door. So we decided, I had this great idea. We make these videos for choreography. Let's make our video for our meeting. So we did kind of what we're doing with you. I set up the video camera on a tripod, and we were like, hi, everyone. For those of you who came to the meeting, thank you for coming. This is a review. For those of you who missed the meeting, please listen to everything we say. And then we just talk to the camera. I even said, you don't have to watch us. You could just put us on down while you're driving and just listen. So we really went through all the key points of our meeting. We tried to be entertaining as best we could. And we got through all of the information without wasting our time.
Right. So and now you can bring them into your meeting by using Skype.
Yeah, that's next time. Look what we're learning from you.
You don't even have to videotape it. You just do it while you're in the meeting. Just make them join you.
Yeah, see? Yeah, and it was amazing. Technology's been incredible for us.
Do you guys ever fight?
No, not really. No. We don't really.
Ever disagree?
Sometimes we disagree, but then
we always work it out because I think that your whole thing is resilient. I think that honestly, we've been through so many bad things that we don't let ourselves get caught up in the little things of arguments or not agreeing on something or having different.
And we really do divide and conquer.
But we're all about discussion. We're all about really talking it out. before you make an educated decision.
And do you ever like just go home and say, man, she pissed me off today?
No.
Never.
Never.
Do your kids get along, like your own kids, do they get along with each other as well as you get along with each other?
Well, they're different genders, so no, they're not the same, but they do love each other.
Yeah.
And like always want to be with each other. Like, for example,
And they're all about equality. Like, God forbid someone gets one more pasta.
Yeah.
Like we split the pasta.
Yeah.
She has more noodles than me. But they're all about equality. And it's very special because we really do teach them to look out for other people and look out for each other. So, let's say 3 of them went one place and the other one had to go to a hockey game or something. They'll always say we should get it for the fourth one.
Or like today, my son figured out that on his iPad he can have as many numbers as he wants as the security code. So he goes, guess what, Mommy? I decided, and he told me his birthday, his sister's birthday, Marnie's daughter's birthday, Marnie's son's birthday. That was his code. And I was
That's a lot of birthdays.
I know, but it was so sweet. Oh, they're all born in March, so it was just like all the dates. But it was the cutest thing ever that he thought of including all 4 of them.
Yeah. And sometimes when they make like a family tree at school, they'll like include like the aunts and uncles and the cousins as like part
And
of
on top of that,
immediate family.
Marnie's in-laws actually like treat my kids like they're their own. So my kids,
It's very special.
we lost our dad, but my husband also lost his dad, and so my kids don't have a grandfather. But Marnie's father-in-law treats my kids like my kids really believe.
I've also been with my husband for 20 years.
Which means I've been with him too.
Right.
Like he's like my brother for 20 years.
So like my in-laws have been in my life for our lives in for a long. Like he was really close with our dad. That like it's his greatest pleasure to take on that role.
Like it was cute. We met someone this weekend. He said, "This is my daughter-in-law, and this is kind of like my other daughter-in-law." To introduce me. It was sweet.
So your husbands, are they related in any way? Do they know each other?
But you know what? They're so amazing, and they really like so respect us and what we do, and respect our relationship, and value us, and that's very special. I think that you really take the special guy to be with identical twins who are as close as us. So our husbands are pretty special people.
Do they ever feel you're closer to one another than you are to them?
I think so, and I really think that once you become a mom too, though, I think that your kids come before your like between you as well. That like I think that everyone has a different part of love for everyone.
I also think like our parents, like going back to like at the beginning of how you talked about how our parents didn't ever make us feel competitive. I feel like we try to do that as well without knowing it. So I don't think they ever feel like that they have that feeling because they know that like we love them, we love the kids, we love each other.
Do they ever say, "Hey, I married you, Marnie, not Rena"? Do we always have to be together?
No, because you know what?
I think that they both realize that when we're together, we make everyone's life easier. Like we work together,
and it's better for everyone. And
the kids occupy each other. We all occupy each other. Like I think the best part is we all have a lot of similar interests and values.
Right.
So it's not like anyone's really butting heads. Like we all like to eat healthy. We all like to exercise. We all like to do fun things. We don't like to just.
So if you're talking to a business owner right now who's maybe struggling, maybe they're having trouble getting clients, or maybe their team isn't the right, they're not the right players, or they're not the right people on the bus, what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs who are trying to become successful?
Oh boy, we have a lot of ideas. I think that the most important thing is that you have to accept change with open arms and really embrace change, and change might actually equal better. I feel like some people are so set in their ways, in their little bubble of how things work, that when change happens, they're almost resistant to it and become negative and then feel as though everything is going downwards, when really it could actually be the opposite, and it could be spiraling upwards, and everyone could be becoming more efficient, and there could be new, challenging, exciting ways of solving problems as opposed to the ways they've always done it. So that's, I think our mom has always told us, like, she's an advocate of that, of how change can make you better. And I think that you need to be accepting to change. And I think with change comes feedback too. You have to be open to feedback and know that you're going to get it, and that's going to help you get better. And obviously some level of feedback isn't always valuable, but it's nice to know people have opinions and they're happy to share it with you.
Yeah. Not only that, I think it's important to not like span yourself up so much with so many different things that your business will do. It's important to like stay connected to what you do best. For instance, we had adult classes, like our mission statement used to say, children, teens, and adults. It now says children and teens, because we realized through this ever-changing world of adults can exercise anywhere. They can exercise online in their house. They can exercise,
offering a dance class for adults isn't really worthwhile for us. Like, what kids come first. So if the adults are committing, they're not really going to be as committed. So
it's not your niche.
Right.
Yeah, so we've realized that it's not to our best benefit at all.
And now
to
we
have
rent
classes.
our studio space, and people can take adult classes through the people who rent the space.
Right.
So
Awesome.
it's sort of like
So
awesome.
when things don't always work, it's important to kind of change things, but not spread yourself.
I also
too
think
thin.
like it's important to just have a positive attitude. I know that like sometimes when things get dark or scary or the unknown is there, it's like important to just take a step back and really think like, wait a minute, it's not as bad as it looks, and turn that negative somehow into a positive. I think surrounding yourself with the right people is also important. When our mom went through a very dark time, she used to always say to us, I'm surrounding myself with positive people and only positive people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's maybe also why we're trying to be positive, is because we want people to feel like they want to be around.
But that's why someone like yourself, a coach, is so important, especially when you get in a low point. You really need that support right away. Like I think that a lot of people miss that. They get so deep into their problems.
Right. Whether it's like a marriage issue, or whether it's like a health issue, or whether it's like a husband and wife who are having trouble conceiving. Like sometimes people don't ask for help before it becomes a problem.
You're 100% right.
And then
So I have a question for you, and it's a big question, and I'm curious to know if I'm going to get two answers or just one. But you have a coach on the line, one that's been around for a while, right? Is there a question that you, either of you, both of you, each of you, have for this coach?
I would say, what is the biggest advice you give to businesses that have been around for longer than 10 years and like see like a future that's bright and beautiful? Like what advice, what's your biggest advice as a coach?
What's my biggest piece of advice? Well, what I do is I look at how leaders think, leaders like you guys. I look at how they think and how their thinking affects their outcomes or their results. And I'm really interested in where they get frustrated. So you guys appear to never get frustrated, but I don't believe it, right? There are places, there's got to be places where things get under your skin, or where they bother you, or where you see someone's performance and you say, what's up with that? That doesn't correspond with our values, or whatever it is. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to follow the train of frustration to understand how a person thinks about those moments, those examples, those life experiences. And I like to understand how their thinking can affect that experience in a different way. And so what's my biggest piece of advice is to really pay attention to the relationship between how you think and the outcomes you get in your life, especially the outcomes that happen repeatedly. So, and the ones that you like, the ones that are awesome, and the ones that aren't maybe so awesome, the struggles you run into over and over again. And there's this very interesting relationship between the way you think and those struggles that keep arising. And so what I want to do is help people start to become more aware of their thinking and the impact of their thinking on their outcomes, and help them understand that if they think about anything just a little bit differently, and you guys think about most things a lot differently, but if you think about anything just a little bit differently, what happens is your behaviors shift even just a little and then end up with massively different results. So I know in your case, you have a wide selection of people you hire. Some are off the charts amazing because I know them, and some of them maybe aren't up to the vibe standard, maybe, until you get them ready, until you get them there. And you need a certain approach, a certain thinking, a certain mentality to say, okay, this person's really worth my investment, and this person maybe not so much, right? And so the question for you guys, just knowing a little bit about your business, is how do you make those decisions and become aware of how you respond, how you react, right? And how your reaction affects your interaction with those people, and how that sometimes becomes a repetitive pattern. So, I mean, we all deal with that, right? We all have employees, and some of them are off the charts amazing, and some of them, we struggle with a little more.
Yeah.
And so for me, a leader, and in your case, two leaders, when you look at your organization, it's a reflection of the leadership. And you guys have an amazing organization, but every organization has, some areas that could use some tweaking, right? We're all like that. Every one of us. We have our strengths, and sometimes we have areas that are a little more challenging for us. And so what I want to do is always help entrepreneurs become aware of the relationship between the way they think and the challenges they have, and how their thinking can affect the challenges in a positive manner.
Wow, that's amazing.
Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
One of the things we do with our clients is we ask them to journal in an online journal. And the reason we ask them to journal is so that we can see their patterns of thinking. So it would be really interesting to see you guys journaling side by side and see what's the same and what's totally different.
Yeah.
Because you appear extremely aligned, extremely unified. And I'm really interested in what are the differences, right? They don't appear, they don't show up, right? I'd love to separate you and put you in an interrogation chamber and say, okay.
We took a dance class this summer in Los Angeles, and we were so close together, and we were like in sync. And I think for some instructors, they love that because they're like, if those two could get it together, everyone else can get it together.
Right.
And then this one guy was so distracted by us that he literally said, in front of like 80 people, he said, twins, use your Wi-Fi and separate. It was interesting.
It was very
we were like,
interesting.
okay, we
We're
will.
like, okay, thanks for noticing us and separating. But it was really interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Any last questions for me?
And there's one that's just a bit controversial, but I'll just ask it anyway.
Go for
What are
it.
you thinking about this minimum wage increase?
How are you guiding
The
the entrepreneurs you work with who are probably freaking out about
like
it?
we have a lot of students that work with us, so it affects us greatly because we pay our staff really well for what they do, the dance teachers especially, but like a lot of them, the students, we pay like the minimum wage. So for us, it's like a big
Because
change.
we've also noticed that, like, we went to get a coffee the other day and it was a little bit more expensive than it was before. Not that we didn't buy the coffee. We didn't
But like,
question
listen,
it.
at the end of the day, everything goes up in the world, right? Like,
But
everyone
it's
wants a deal,
significant.
but
and
everyone realizes that.
Well, look. We live in Ontario. For those of you who are listening and you're going, what do you mean there's a salary hike? What's going on? We are running an experiment here locally. Actually, all of Canada, all of the world is watching this particular experiment to see how this salary hike, this minimum wage hike, is going to affect the economy in general. And so what I would suggest to you is, like, we can resist it, right? And anything we resist kind of just agitates us more. And so this is exactly falls in the category of here's a change.
Yeah.
How are we going to turn it into something good,
Yeah.
right?
For us, like, because it is going to affect us greatly. And we are really big into overstaffing our dance classes so that the kids have support, because our classes are filled with varying levels and situations where kids do need extra support.
Yep.
So we need them. Our idea now is that, like, now that we're going to have to start to pay everyone more, one of our things we need to change, which is that extra work, is be even more on top of our staff and make the amazing ones more amazing and make the ones that aren't as amazing because we're paying them.
So with feedback and follow up and more communication and going in and assessing them and giving them suggestions
But you see, what does that sound like? To me, it sounds like you are getting better at what you do, right? It sounds to me like what you're doing is you're kind of sharpening your knife and really kind of upping, your caliber is already high, but upping the caliber even more.
Absolutely.
And so what is it forcing you to do? I don't want to use the word be more competitive, but be better at your craft on all fronts. So sometimes when we're pressured to make change, what it does is say, how do we play this game smarter, better, more intelligently? How do we raise the caliber of our skill set? And that's exactly the approach you're taking. So, a change could be a good change. You're the one who taught us that. And you're 100% right in this case, right?
Yeah.
So you're right. So how do we turn this into something good? And how do we perhaps take that wide variety of skill set and trim off the fat, trim off the bottom, and say, let's just stick to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Marnie and Rena, thank you so much for spending this time with me. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for entertaining us. This is the first ever video we've produced, but I think it was worth every second. You can do a little dance if you want.
I got come out. Boom, 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 boom.
We'll just go faster.
Done.
Okay, until we meet again.
We're so flattered.
Thank you so much.
So the journaling component of this whole journey has just been paramount. It has allowed me as a client to dump everything that was in my head.
It has resonated with me extremely well, and I find this to be a model that is so applicable to so many different people.
It really gets to the core of things that might be holding you back. So for me, that's been one of the most profound things and learnings about frame of mind coaching.
And my coach really showed me my potential, and, with the journaling in combination with, building this extraordinary relationship, I realized what I have to offer the world. And I loved it so much that I'm training to become a coach myself.
You've been listening to Resilience Radio, Crushing the Tough Stuff with Kim Addis. For more information about Frame of Mind Coaching, visit frameofmindcoaching.com.